Hey dudes,
Morning.
welcome back to a new video.
Today we came outside here in the park. Sun is shining and we have thaw. As you can see, snow is melting. And we thought this is a perfect day to film another Get to Know Us video. And in this video we will talk about our childhood. We thought we would give you a little background of where we're coming from and talk a little bit about our family structures and maybe the things that we both can relate to, because we're quite similar, even though we're coming from two different cities and different families set up, I guess. And so for my background, I can tell you that I'm coming from 3-kid family. So is you.
Yeah,
So for me, I'm the middle child. I have older sister and younger sister. My younger sister was born when I was 8 years old, so we have 8 years difference.
as you said, I also come from a 3-kid family. I'm the youngest one, and I'm the only son in the family. I have 2 older sisters. One of the sisters is 2 years older, and the other is 4, so there's 2-year gap between all of us.
For you it's a bit different, because I can say that I pretty much grew up in 2-kid family, because like I said, my younger sister was 8 years later, so me and my older sister, we grew up pretty much as to like school age, and then the third sister came in, and so I would say that's the difference here, because you have like 2 years apart from.
Yeah, we were all raised pretty much at the same time. It's quite close. I think I could also say that I was quite almost raised by my sisters, because I think that was quite a bit of a benefit to have 2 women around me all the time. So whatever they were experiencing, I could see and understand more about women, I guess, which gives you a bit of an insight from other guys that are either one kid families or just boys, so it kind of makes a difference.
From my childhood, there's not much that I remember. I think that when people talk about their families, I think, at least me, I think there's like 3 stories. The story that I tell to, like, I don't know, my colleagues and schoolmates and people that are in like an outer circle. Then there is, and that's one kind of story about just like basic information and not too detailed. Then there is the second, which is that thing that I tell you because it's more personal. I tell you like the stories about my childhood and what I experienced, what I felt, what was the things that were good, what were not that good. And then there's that third story that I'm trying to figure out myself, because I think that in my childhood I have a lot of missing pieces, and even though I try to remember and think about them, every time that I revisit those memories, I kind of create a new memory about it, and like it's not actually the true picture, and so it's kind of hard to capture that moment when I'm talking about, because let's say 10 years ago when I thought about things, I was like, oh, well, I had one perspective, and now that I'm revisiting these things, I have a completely different one. And so when I give these ideas to you and tell you, maybe it's like a different perspective from what actually happened, if that makes sense.
It's interesting when you mentioned that you have kind of gaps between certain memories and stuff like that, because I kind of feel the same each year. Even when we talk between ourselves, it feels like that you kind of open a memory that you completely forgotten, didn't even know that it exists. And because like you don't really spend your whole day just thinking about how your life was, but then when you have conversations, you realize. I think one thing that I remember I just briefly touched on before was that I feel like I kind of was raised by my sisters, but I don't feel like in bad way, like my parents were not there or anything. I mean, my parents were, at least my mom was very relaxed. I think she just trusted her kids a lot, in comparison to my friends parents were either really strict or just watched every single thing they're doing and calling 5 times a day. I mean, for the fact I was one of the last people in my class to get a mobile phone, so that kind of gave me some freedom because no one was calling me. And like I was able to go to like, I don't know, sleepovers and parties, and you know, even when I tried my first cigarette, or like, let's say I was trying to smoke because that's what all the cool kids did, I didn't really enjoy it, but like my parents caught me. I guess it was because my school teacher caught me smoking. She called my parents, and my mom was like, the fuck are you doing? But like, it wasn't like, I don't know, spanking and like the end of the world. She just said like, I guess I understand where you're coming from, like you want to fit in and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I guess so, but like, it's not like I enjoy it, or like I already at young age realized that smoking is really expensive and I couldn't afford it. So I was like, it's probably not gonna be the hobby for me.
I guess when you thought about your childhood and that the sister thing, and you said that not that the parents weren't around, I feel a bit different because I feel like my parents were really not around. I grew up in a household, let's say, on a private house, like in the middle of nowhere. And so my mother and my dad at that time, they lived with my mom's parents. So I lived with my grandma and grandpa, really. So we were kind of big family-ish, taking into consideration that it was me, my sister, my mom, my dad, and then the grandparents. And so the grandparents were staying at home, and mom was always at work, and she worked like late. And then, let's say, I think probably at 7 o'clock she would be home, preparing maybe the dinner, and then just like for the next day, so that she could go back to work. And she worked from mornings to evenings, and I don't really remember her much around. And neither my dad. My dad worked. Also, I don't remember him around at all, but that's like probably my gap in memory, because I know that he was there. My parents did get separated though, so it was around when I was 12 years old. But until then, they did live together. I just don't remember having a relationship with him. I probably have like memories on one hand that I can count that I've done together with my dad, and it's just like we never really got that connection, and we really never bonded, I guess. And so whenever he left, I don't really keep in touch. I don't have any relationship with that as well. But then my mom was at work, and then the grandparents were looking kind of after us, but not really. So me and my sister, we were living like two children in like wildlife. We could do whatever we want. No one was really after us. And also, when you mentioned about school a little bit, I don't remember my parents helping out with like a homework or checking up on us or like anything like that. It's obviously because they were at work or whatever. They were just not. I don't remember them much around, and so my mom was never checking whether we were doing good at school or not, and we were not doing good. So,
I mean, right there when you say it, I guess this was where the freedom and trusting your kids went a bit over the line, because pretty much exactly the same thing was with my parents and school. No one ever checked up on me or my sisters how we're doing in school. It was just that end of the year we would bring the paper that says like he's dumb. You know, all the grades were super low, and like my parents never checked if I'm doing homework, if I'm getting my books prepared for the school. So like I could just do whatever I want. So like maybe it's like, oh cool, no one checks on you, but at the same time maybe I could have used some, I don't know, maybe support, like as you said, homeworks and stuff like that. So maybe my grades would have been a bit higher if someone would like maybe push me to do homeworks and stuff like that, instead of video games or just chilling online or stuff like that. Same for me, like my parents are also divorced, but I have one of the kind of weirder stories, I guess, because that's when everyone in my family got happy, I guess. I know it doesn't make exactly sense, but like just when my parents got divorced, everyone's relationships got so much better. Like even with my father, the relationship got like, that's when I finally actually had some memories of like, I don't know, talks and I don't know, doing something together and like actually enjoying things, because like I guess maybe my parents weren't the best fit for each other and everyone was just kind of miserable. But like, yeah, after divorce things got better, as weird as that sound.
My mom told me once that she pretty much got together with my dad because she wanted to make kids. Like, doesn't matter how dumb that sounds, but apparently that was the case. And so maybe it's just a way to brush off whatever happened in between that marriage, but whatever. I'm not taking anyone's sides. Like I said, I don't have much relationship with my dad ever since they moved out. I do keep in touch with my mom. I was kind of a mom's kid all the time when I was growing up, but that also is like to the point where I am now. I'm just like, I think I'm much distant from everyone in my family, to be quite honest.
I think probably the fact that we left for 6 years has something to do with it because
Oh, absolutely.
both of us are kind of loners, as we mentioned before, and it's the same with family. It's not like we necessarily dislike anyone in our family, but we just have, let's say,
Less common things now, right?
yeah,
We grew apart.
yeah, and it's like what, like we're 28 now. What are we gonna spend every single day with our every single family member? Like, you kind of have to do your own thing, I guess. And when you talked about your parents, I mean, you have to know that it was the Soviets, and everyone was like getting married and having kids at like 18 or something, and that was completely normal. If you're, I don't know, 22 and you're not married with kids, what are you doing with your life? So everyone was kids getting kids, which is,
For whatever reason, that was the goal, but I like obviously looking to it now. To me, I guess when you get kids early, you don't really choose them; you just have them. But now, when we are at our age,
yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's a choice rather than it happened, and now it's like you raise a family.
Yeah, and exactly as you're saying. Now, if we ever want to have kids, it would be our decision instead of, oh, it just happened, and then might as well get few more. you know.
Exactly. I guess it was easier for my family to grow those children, us, because we had a house that was my grandma's house. It was paid off. There was no mortgages around it, anything like that. So that makes a life a lot cheaper already. So if the kids can just roam wildly, no problem. They will be safe no matter what. And the house is there, no expenses in that. But yeah, I can say that coming from three children family, money was not always the topic we were talking about. It was rather than, I think, I think we could feel that not always we have enough money, but then it wasn't really discussed between children either.
I mean, absolutely, it puts a strain on everyone's wallets if you have two grown-ups plus three kids. It's the same with me. Like, money was something not like it was kind of even avoided. Like, clearly, I noticed that maybe we're not wealthy, but my parents never taught me anything about money or told me anything about money, how money works or anything. Everything that I know about money I've learned online, and
That's true.
only after I left, the family nest or whatever you call it, when I had to earn my own money, I had to understand how the whole thing works.
So one memory that I have from our childhood is that I was never the popular kid either. I was the one that was always kind of, I would say, left out, but also willinglessly, I don't know the word. So my intentions was never to fit in either. I was kind of a distant kid, if that makes sense. Um, I changed schools a lot. I changed the schools 3 times before my graduation. Um, for my own initiative, I just said my parents maybe I could go to another school, and they were okay with it. And then I changed schools again when I was um, in college. I guess I don't know. In Latvian we have just like 12 grade system, and so I changed the school in 10th grade, where until the graduation was 2 years, and that was my third time changing schools. I can't really say I have many friends from my childhood, and so if I'm thinking about it, the friends that I made in my first school also moved away. They moved before me, so they changed the schools. Um, and I guess first time when that happened, it was a bit of a shock to me. So I didn't expect them to leave and change schools. I didn't know that that's a possibility. And so I was like, And then the other friend that I had, they moved countries. They moved to UK, and then I was even more shocked. I was like, "Can you even? Okay, first you move schools in the same district. That's one thing, and then you can just like move countries as well." And then I was like, kind of. Either I was separating from the friends when I moved schools, or they were separating from me when they moved schools. And I never really made that close connection with anyone that would stay long term, if that makes sense. And it's no one's fault, it's just how it happened. And so I guess in that sense, I can't really say that, oh, that one childhood friend is like, we're sticking together forever, best friends, so on. I never really had that.
That's interesting when we talk about kids in school and popularity or something like that. I think it would be quite weird to say I was popular. I don't know if I was popular, but I definitely grabbed attention and I liked it in school. As I mentioned, maybe I didn't have that much money, and my clothes and my phone wasn't as cool as everyone else. And I was like, now that I'm analyzing my childhood, is what I'm, I guess, figuring out is that that caused, kind of some insecurities, which led to aggression, which kind of, I guess, makes you like noticeable in school, because before someone would realize that I was poor, like not like that, but like before they would realize that I'm not like one of them, I would grab their attention by, just like showing that like you can't mess with me, I guess. Like, so I would, like, I don't know, beat up some kids, or like, just show that, like, yeah, kind of distracted from myself, and like that's what I was kind of known for. Like, not, I guess in my school everyone was known for that, because it was quite a weird school in that sense. We did fight a lot, and like, the school didn't like it, my parents didn't really care about it. They were like, yeah, at least you're defending yourself, not that bad. So I did the same thing. I guess I changed schools when I was, I think, in 7th to 8th grade, or to 9th grade, because
Me too. That was my first time when I changed.
yeah, but it was same also my decision, because also my sisters did the same thing, and I was almost like following their lead, because all of us were like kind of infamous popular in that way. Like, all teachers hated us. First of all, we weren't the smartest ones, the grades weren't good, we caused trouble a lot. So it was just like, I knew it would be the right time to leave that school, because like there's no good future for me there. So I changed schools. For 1 year I still like got in trouble for the 9th grade, I guess, and only when I was in 10th grade or something like that, something switched in me, and I was just like, okay, I guess like I'm done with, like, I don't know, whatever kids think is cool, or I don't know, popular, and how to grab more attention. And I just like started sitting alone in school and just wanted to learn a bit, and like, maybe forget the past where I was this kind of trouble kid, and maybe get fix at least what can be fixed with my grades. And I started learning. Like, it wasn't perfect in the end. There's no perfect story where I got super smart, but I did fix some of the grades, and like I could graduate at least. And when we talk about friends, I do want to mention that I did have a friend over all these years, from grade 1 to grade, I guess, 9, 10. I had one best friend that, like, he lived next to the school, and I wasn't that far away from him. So like we pretty much grew up together, and he was kind of a bit smarter, just a couple of grades smarter than me, because he had the mom that took care, like maybe paid more attention, helped with homework and stuff like that, and checked what he's doing. Reason why why we lost contact was because he became a drug addict. So like I was fine with that. Like, in the beginning it was just like a phase, but then I realized that, like, little by little he started finding new friends that have the same interests as he does. And I don't know if you're watching, I don't think you do, but yeah, it's just like we're really close friends. And then he just did his own thing, and I don't know where the hell he is now.
I guess we can say that we have quite a lot in common. So both of us were coming from three children families. We are changing schools when we were kids, and
We kind of like now to be more alone. I guess we're more introverted than, I don't know. I guess all these things that we have.
our families, our parents, they are separated. That's another big one.
Yeah, like all these things, I think we have a lot in common and a lot to talk about together. We understand like each other's backgrounds, I guess, and that helps because you can actually really understand, where the person is coming from. It's not just stories where you would say, yeah, that sounds interesting. I pretend that I know how you feel and stuff like that. So I guess that definitely built our relationship. And
That gives us that connection that we have. Uh, we know these unspoken truths about each other, and we know how it feels, and maybe the struggles that we have, what we bring from our childhoods with us today. Um, we both have them, and we just know. We're just like, yeah, I know how.
Yeah.
I know how it was.
it's definitely interesting to unpack these things. Like either is the conversation just between us, or if we decide to share it with you guys, and if you find it interesting. So there's definitely a lot more. These books are just slowly uncovering. So yeah.
This is just an intro for the get to know us.
Yeah, and if you guys want to know specific parts of us, then let us know, and we'll make another episode of Get to Know Us.
Yeah, we will try to make these episodes as much as we can, as long as we have something to talk about, and as long as we don't run out of the topics, we will keep posting these.
Yeah. All right. So should this be the end of the video?
I think this is the end of the video.
All right. So if you enjoyed the second episode of Get to Know Us, you could leave a like. If you want to follow our journey here in Latvia and what else we're doing, you can subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.